Hey everybody, we are back. More Burning Wheel, more creeping through the woods, more playing strategy games. We were joking about on the breakout. This is like the what's the Inception meme of games, because we're playing a game inside a game on a show about games.
Yeah,
and we're learning about a game in which we're learning.
Right, that's right. Yeah, we're learning how to play Burning Wheel while the Burning Wheel characters learn about a situation by playing a game. Yo, dog.
Someone had taken the literal StarCraft skill.
I know.
Yeah, we were joking about the StarCraft, but Basil has the skill you would roll to play StarCraft well. Yeah,
Lucky.
if you put him in front of the heresy machine that we call computers, then he would eventually, if you could get over that part, he'd be able to play StarCraft. All right, so you got 2 successes worth of sort of insight. So what are you looking for, like tactical insight or like strategic insight into the terrain, or?
I'm looking for if the Duke knew that we were coming, where would he most likely be putting his defenses, so that we can get past those defenses, like completely get past them, like and just charge right into him. Here's the only analogy I know how to give here, or like the best analogy that comes to my mind is, has anyone ever played Tecmo Bowl or Tecmo Super Bowl here? Probably not, right? The answer is no.
I mean, yes, once or twice.
These are old Nintendo like football games, and in that, the offense calls a play, and the defense doesn't pick a defensive play. They pick what offensive play they think the offense is going to.
That's right.
And if you pick the right one, the defense is like done. Like that play just
the whole game is just pretty much guess what number I have behind my back.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Rock, paper, scissors, right?
Basically, it's rock, paper, scissors, but with like 8 options instead of 3. And so like I'm trying to figure out what play the Duke would call on us, so to speak, so that I can make the right kind of like know where his openings are and just like get in there quick, because if we don't, like, he owns a forest, I bet he knows how to hide, and there's no way I can just like look at this map and find the best hiding places, but I can figure out his where his weak points are, I'm hoping.
So he would probably, knowing the Duke and knowing the terrain and everything, he would probably array his troops this way to protect their food supply, which is to say the farm up here, the little farmland up here, protect the road, because he would assume that soldiers would come marching straight up the road, and then probably have one kind of on this edge, because the river is quite wide, and it's fast enough moving that you can funnel logs down it in high quantities. So this whole area kind of over here is really undefended, so if you cross the river. But yes, the road, so this is a good segue. The road, you look at it, and maybe we like see you like kind of looking at these two tokens next to the road, and you're like, the road is well defended. And then we cut to, I mean, you've been walking for a long time. How drunk are you, woodsman, at this point? Just walking and drinking.
I was wondering about this because I obviously have this alcoholic problem, and I've been taking swigs from a flask, but also I think there's probably a certain degree of like high tolerance.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Okay. So here's where how traits work. So you have the alcoholic trait, and if your alcoholism gets your character into trouble, you'll earn points at the end of the game. So if you flat out just say like, yeah, I'm drunk as fuck, then definitely. If you would rather leave it to the dice and be like, I'm not sure, I'll make you make a health test. Representing maybe your character wants to be drunker than you actually are, or you can just say to me, I'm not drunk at all.
Can I say I'm like in a sort of a semi-perpetual state of tipsiness at the moment, at least?
So you're like the Hulk. That's your secret. You're always drunk. Okay, all right, yeah, that's fine. So is that what state you're in now? You're just kind of.
Definitely not. I think I have like a small enough shred of sense of duty that I'm not just like and smashed. But, it's pretty consistent that I'm taking a swig here and there.
Yeah, it's a long walk.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, I don't know how long would it take a person to walk like 13 miles. What's walking speed?
A really long time.
Yay. I mean,
is this map to scale?
Yes, yeah. Let me thank God for the internet. Human walking speed. I'll just put walking speed because they'll
About
listen.
3 miles an hour, says the internet.
The game
no,
might
one
also
point-
tell you something based on your speed stat and your stride.
That's true. Okay, well, I mean, you did say you were just walking casually, so it doesn't sound like a speed test to try to hustle.
No.
Averages, yeah, about 3.1 miles an hour. So, yeah, like 3 or 4 hours. It's like not actually that long, but long enough that if you're just like taking maybe the first few hours, you're just like casual sips as you walk through the woods, and then more and more. Maybe you're probably out by the time you get up onto the road. I think that's enough to warrant a health test.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So, health test, we'll say obstacle ob2. So just pop open yield character sheet, click that little button next to health, make it happen. Oh my god, what happened? Yeah, you did it. All right, so you're not,
Nice.
you're drunk enough, right? Like, you're still under control, you won't have any penalties from being drunk, but you're like,
okay.
The woods are a little blurry.
All right.
But he's a functional alcoholic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good amount. It's a capable amount of drug. So make sure you mark that test, that difficult test. So you click the little difficult button.
And what do I mark it?
It's on your character sheet under health. There's a little button.
Oh,
Difficult. Just click that box.
just fill one. Okay.
Yeah, just
gotcha.
fill one of those in.
You're getting healthier by drinking.
Yeah. Well, you're putting your liver through, its travails. You succeeded. Okay, so behind you, some distance, the soldiers in the woods, and the rooster trying to keep up. But I don't know. I mean, you said you're not making any effort to like be stealthy, so the soldiers that are waiting on the road will just flat out see all of you.
There is one.
We're in the woods, but yeah.
I mean, I'm asking: is your intent to be hidden or not? I know you suck at hiding. Not. I mean, the funny thing is the inverse of the skill set is being used here, where like the stealthy guys walking down the road and the unstealthy folks.
I guess I'm trying to sneak.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just terrible at it. But yeah, the dice will tell me how bad I am. So
There was something I wanted to say that I do fairly early on in the process. You can tell me if it's fair or not.
Sure.
Since I sort of set out with the mentality of like, I'm not going to attempt to, be stealthy or I'm just going to, walk down the road like any traveler and try to blend in. One thing I wanted to do was like, see if there's any, just like kill some like squirrels or something and sling them over my back to walk with.
Oh, yeah, making up like some cover.
Yeah.
Cool.
And also like we've sort of established that those guys are not so stealthy in the woods, or at least Rooster's not.
Yeah, so what'll happen is I'll get Rooster and the soldiers to make a test, then you can make an observation test to see if you spot them, and then that will let you know how well hidden they are.
Okay. All right. So should I kill some sort of rodent first, or?
let's
It'll
do that
be
first because
so-
I have a thing I want to do midway.
So I was gonna say, so there's a thing here because you're not killing the rodents specifically to have them. What you're doing is you're doing that to set up an easier situation for a test you're gonna have to make later, right? And so in Burning Wheel, those are called linked tests. So you can make your hunting test or whatever now, and if you succeed, you get an extra die on your persuade or intimidate or whatever you need to do later when you're like, no, I'm just a simple country bumpkin. Look, I got squirrels. Because I assume that's your intent, right? You didn't just want to make like squirrel hot dogs.
There's another dimension to this.
Okay.
I was sort of like, grumpy about the fact that they're tagging along, and I was thinking if I am aware that they're sort of out there in the woods and they're not being, and they've made themselves aware to me, then I actually want to do this with that in mind and actually do something a little differently. So,
okay, well let's find out if you can see them or not. So
yeah.
I will roll for the soldiers. I've got these like Duke's Guard. Actually, I should make a new character sheet for your revolutionary dudes.
And yeah, what skill am I rolling,
Stealth
Adam? Stealth?
or stealthy.
I have it not.
Yeah. If somebody wants to look up what stealthy is based on, they have it not as well. I'm gonna just give them-
Speed.
There you go. Okay.
Great.
All right. So the way that these tests work, when you're rolling to establish an obstacle for someone else, you have your successes rolled down, rounded down. So, for example,
So I make my speed test, and then that sets the obstacle for.
yeah. So how hard you are to see. So no modifiers. Well, actually, they're in the woods, so that's an extra die. Ortha, base obstacle 0. Okay, so the difficulty to see. Wow, good job, soldiers. 3 successes. So the soldiers are an ob 3 to be seen, and that'll be true for the whole entire time they're being stealthy. And now you need to, or ob,
Yeah.
I guess it's rounded down because they don't have the skill, so it's actually ob 1. So it would have been nice. Good job.
And then I can't fork anything because I'm learning something, so I just do this. And my base obstacle is 0.
Yeah, and so your intent is to stay hidden. The task is to roll speed in place of stealthy.
I'm as
So you're ob 1
stealthy as
as
any
well.
soldier.
All right, ob 1. Well, it's not ob 0, so there's that. Okay, can you, Woodsman, can you make an observation test, please? And the obstacle is 1. Let's see. Okay, yeah, no problem. You definitely spot them.
Okay. All right. So what I want to do is, like, I'm kind of like I'm kind of mad that they're so, noisy over there, by my standards of like how one would travel through the woods, and sort of grumpy about them following in the first place, and so I decide to complete my appearance in walking straight down the road as I intend to, because I'm too lazy to go the stealthy route. I do want to just pick off any easy creature that I happen to see.
Mm-hmm.
If possible, I would like to do it in their direction, just to let them know that I'm not happy
Right,
with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Pin a bird to the tree in front of one of them. Awesome.
So here's the thing, like, I don't intend to do it in any way that would actually endanger them, but I don't know if I want to factor in any aspect of my tipsiness in that equation. But
No, you succeeded at your health test, so you're still as good a shot. Maybe you look drunk. Maybe it's like you take the arrow and you're just like bleh, boom, but it's perfect. It's well, I mean, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
So
I just want to send a message that they're being ridiculous and they don't need to be.
Okay, so your intent here is to prove to them that like they're doing a shit job, basically.
How like shitty and obvious we are, yeah.
And
but
you're
I'm not actually address them or anything. I'm just gonna, sling an arrow that way and grab a rabbit or squirrel or something and
okay.
on my way.
It's just such an insult too, because you're gonna walk all the way over there and pull it out of the tree and just not look at them, but be like, they're gonna know if you succeed. They're gonna know that you know. Okay.
Say anything. I just walk over. So do I need to?
Yeah. So this is gonna be. Do you have is there a separate skill for hunting, or is it just bow?
There is a separate skill.
There's a hunting skill. Okay. So you're gonna use your. But you're not really hunting. You're gonna use bow, but you can fork hunting in.
Okay.
And probably like intimidation if you have it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say it's obstacle to make a trick shot to impress or frighten them. We'll say ob 3. And you'll roll your bow skill, and then you can fork in hunting. Do you have any other skills you want to fork in?
No, I don't think so. How do I fork in again?
So it's just under modifiers. So you'll add in.
Just add dice for each skill. 1 die for each skill, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Unless the skill is 7 or higher that you're forking in, but it's not.
So just I'm adding 1 then.
Yeah, just adding 1, and the obstacle is 3.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, so you fail, so you miss, despite having a massive pile of dice. Maybe you're a little drunker than you thought, and you like go to take a shot, and I think like Rooster, an arrow goes like right past your face, and like lands somewhere in the bushes.
Yeah, and so I like turn to the soldiers.
Yeah.
I'm just like, one of you is being too loud. You're giving us away. Like,
And
you just saw us.
so they're like stage whispering, like, that was you. You did it. You stepped on that branch back there. And they're like whispering, and you can obviously from the road hear all of this.
And then I like cut through it, and I'm just like, no, both of you fuckers are going back to camp. You're fucking this up. I'm going with them. We're changing the plan. And so I just tell them to get fucked, basically.
So you do that. You're going back, and when you turn to look back, you see to the north there are two men approaching through the trees.
And then my like
Good.
badgering turns into like the silent like, you're going back to the camp right now.
Yeah.
Tell them
So
what's happening.
just to be clear, like kind of what's happening on the like narrative level, and we'll do less of this as we go. But so when you fail a roll in Burning Wheel, you can either not get the thing that you wanted, which is to say like they wouldn't have noticed the arrow, right, or something like, or you can have what you wanted, which is to say like you prove your point and they're like, oh fuck, like we're being loud, but the GM gets to introduce a twist, in which case, yeah, they've been being too loud for several hours and someone has come to investigate.
Mm-hmm.
So the soldiers and Rooster, you all I guess you guys are closer to the crossroads. Yeah, you notice approaching you, maybe like 30 yards through the woods, some men. They're not armored, but they have swords out, and they're like approaching through the woods, and you kind of like lock eyes with them as you like go to look. Let's cut back to the camp. So Agnes and Basil, what are you doing back at camp?
At this point, we've wrapped up that game, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think you're just finishing the game now.
What's Agnes's like general demeanor on missions like this?
She doesn't have much of an opinion. She pretty much just goes along with whoever's in charge.
Is it like happily though? Like sort of like
It
out of care?
Yeah, it's not like disgruntled or anything. It's just kind of, well, this guy knows what he's talking about. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. I guess I'll just follow him.
I'm trying to think if there's like another big goal that Basil has. Basil.
Basil is the plant. Basil is the person. I had to practice. I had to practice that before the game, and like
in our world, Basil is the person and Basil is the plant.
Yeah. Okay.
Who knows?
No, it's Basil, and if you're British, you pronounce it Bazzo. Bazo.
Oh, that's true.
With a W at the end. It's
Yeah.
like very,
I think he's at this point is still about making small talk and like figuring out. Again, he's very interested in what is it. Does this curse? Is there something about this curse that we don't know because we're all keeping secrets from each other? So I think he's just like asking. He's being very conversational with Agnes. He's like, oh, like, what's your plan in the long run? Do you hope to own a large bakery? Kind of just like, and like, what was your history like? Tell me about your schooling. There's kind of an interrogation happening, but like hidden a bit by the facade of friendship.
Yeah, I give you very short answers.
Okay.
I'm not really interested in sharing too much about myself, but when you start talking about what happened, what occurred, and the curse,
Right.
that interests me because I really want to understand that. So,
Yeah, So there's a skill that I have. One is the music behind me very loud. Can you guys hear this?
it's not that bad.
Okay. I have roommates.
A little bit.
I'll mute myself
Okay.
once I finish this thing. So one of the skills that I have is folklore, and I've been thinking a lot about whether or not Basil's become a little superstitious after this curse. I mean, it's obvious he's a little superstitious. He thinks the curse is real, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for like anything in any of the histories that I hear from the people who I talk to about this stuff. If there's any like, oh, this reminds me of a a story that I learned from the woods people when I spent my time out there about this little morality play or this pixie or something like that. Like I'm desperate to figure out if there's anything supernatural that connected us, maybe even before we committed this act, or did somebody else carry the curse with them? So that's kind of what I'm looking for, but I don't know that there's any way to like roll for that really,
Yeah, I don't know at this point.
Well, you're not looking for like, I mean, are you looking for new information, or are you just looking for insight from Agnes on?
I guess I'm looking for insight. I don't. This is the thing. It's like it's a big question, right? It's what is it that has cursed us and this land? And I know that I'm not going to crack that with any single interview. Basil knows that, and so he's trying to do like the brick wall method, which is like I just need as much stuff as possible. I need to start putting down bricks. I need to start learning about who individuals who are cursed are and what their lives were like before the curse to see if there's something that's changed, right? This is like the deja vu in the Matrix, right? Like, there it is. That's the thing. Like you used to, you used to be like this, and now you're like that, and now I understand a little bit more about how this curse works in your personal life. So maybe that's an angle to look at. Is I'm looking for things that have changed in Agnes's life before the curse and after, besides the basics of like now you live in a society that isn't as hierarchical as it once was. Like. Did you like any of your bread like taste different now? Like weird questions.
You're like trying to psychoanalyze her in a way, like
except that the thing that I'm trying to unravel isn't like her interior life. It's like the way existence works, But I am psychoanalyzing her like a text.
Okay. Do you have the philosophy skill?
I think I do.
Okay.
I hope I didn't just completely fuck up this character. Yes, I do have the philosophy.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna roll philosophy, and the obstacle is going to be Agnes's. It'll be the inverse of Agnes's perception. So the more perceptive Agnes is, the easier this is for you because she's gonna be able to like explain things. So are you helping or are you hindering in this, Agnes? Like, are you trying to like do you, I guess my question is, do you pick up on what's happening and try to help? Or is Basil asking a lot of like invasive questions in your mind?
It's a little invasive to me.
Yeah.
I know what he's trying to do, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about this like huge library that could have some sort of answer in it.
Right. Yeah. So this is all a little kind of like distracting
I'm
and sort of irrelevant. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, why don't we just do an opposed roll? Why don't you roll your will, Agnes, and you roll your psychology or whatever, your philosophy skill.
Philosophy. That's close enough. That's in this weird world. I'm trying to think if there's anything I can fork in here, but I don't know that there is.
History.
History works. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Folklore. You mentioned folklore.
Oh, does folklore work in this scenario?
Yeah.
Where I'm trying to find like, oh yeah, this is like a this story that I've heard or this myth. All right, so 2 to that.
Okay.
Artha, and the base obstacle in this case, I just put in nothing.
Just hang out for now because Agnes, I'll get you to roll first.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. Will?
Yeah.
No modifiers, I guess.
No, unless you have like a skill that would help you or something, or you have a trait you want to call on.
I mean, I have philosophy too.
Oh, okay. So maybe instead of just your will, you can just debate philosophy with him and like. Actually, I think that's way more interesting.
Yeah,
is that what you would do, or are you just basically? Here's my question: is do you resist by just like shutting down and being like trying to like not answer the questions, or do you turn it around and you're like?
I would probably try to evolve the conversation into something that's not so much about myself.
Oh, hells yeah. So you'd be like, well, the philosopher Gertrude says.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of
that's
trying
awesome.
to
And that's such a great, like, I mean, we'll talk about your reaction to it afterwards, Basil. But I'm curious to see how you react to the baker suddenly being like,
Yeah.
well, in Marx.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So this is one example of why I like Burning Wheel so much. Opposed philosophy tests. Having a philosophy off. Okay.
Yep.
So why don't you roll your philosophy.
Okay.
Do you have any other skills that you want to fork in?
Don't think
Let's take a look at your skill list. I will help with the forking. I mean, you're trying to fork. You're trying to fork in things that help you obfuscate your own involvement, right? Making it about something that isn't you.
Yeah.
Inconspicuous.
Oh,
That's a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Sure.
How do I?
So it'll ask you for modifiers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just type.
Yeah. Just put in one there. Yeah.
One per forked skill.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hit it.
Oh.
Philosophy
must
defense
start the
activated.
0.
Yeah, and then the obstacle is 0 because you're opposing each other. You don't know what your ob is yet. All right, so it's an ob 1 philosophy test for you. There, Basil. Oh.
I see your philosophy is strong.
Yeah.
I spent 15 years in exile just reading books. All right, like.
I'm in awe.
Awesome.
Like for the first time, I just start to like. I'm like looking at him like.
Like he's the wise man on the
I
mountain.
want your knowledge.
Is it like one of those things where, like, I say this as someone who literally went through a philosophy program and spent a little while as like a pompous asshole who didn't really know a lot of the shit that he was talking about, like, and where I would be like, oh, you know, Leibniz says blah blah blah, and then the person I was talking to was like, well, actually, like, sit down, let me tell you about Leibniz. Like, actually, I know, I see that you're trying to impress me. That's cute, Austin, but like, come on, here's let me lay it out for you. So it could be one of those things where just like Basil does know the stuff that the references that you're making and like the ideas that you're bringing to bear, and still manages to like circle back around to you over and over again. Oh, it's funny you would bring up the philosopher Gertrude.
How interesting.
How interesting. How interesting that you would bring up Gertrude. Huh. You know, like.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, I'm starting to give way a little bit because I'm impressed by you.
Yeah.
Well, you run out of like textbook defense, and so have to go, and you end up having to go to like personal experience, and then that's what he wants, right?
But I'm doing a little bit more freely than I was before. Like I'm actually.
So I guess my question is like how do you see each other differently after that conversation ends?
I think Basil, is on top of trying to figure out this curse, and I think this is pretty clear. Constantly trying people out to see what role they could play in the future society, and this is a good sign. Like it's good that Agnes Baker has this at least basic level of philosophy understanding, right? Like one success is not no successes. One success is okay. There's a foundation here. We can work with that. Not only do I think Basil thinks it's good for her as an individual, but like, the Baker class can talk philosophy with me. Like I talk circles around them, but good. Like we can good. Now I know I'll carry this forward whenever I talk to others.
The revolution is working. Class.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
And I'm aware that you're a lot brighter than I am, but I'm also sort of put a little bit more at peace knowing that you're open to having a educated discourse with me,
right?
Because I was intimidated by you before.
Sure.
I love that, like, in that single role, we kind of see the relationship develop where it's like, you know, Agnes, you're obsessed about, like, getting new knowledge and stuff, and you're thinking about, like, Grashad Castle has this awesome library and whatever, and then Basil says a bunch of smart stuff, and you're like,
yeah.
What was that?
Brain.
Yeah.
Right.
The Library of Basil. All right, so Mark, for philosophy, your ob was technically for that role, it was ob 4, right? Because it's each other's difficulty.
Right.
So you actually do like learn quite a lot from that argument or that debate. So mark a challenging test for philosophy.
And then I mark a routine, probably.
And you mark a routine, yeah. But with a philosophy skill of 4, I don't know if routine tests even count for me. Oh
Oh,
no, it's
that's
the
a good
last.
point.
It's the last one where routine counts. So just mark it anyway.
Okay.
Good stuff. So do you? What I mean, do you just like? I guess how lost in that conversation do you get? Like,
How much time? How much time has? The last thing that happened with the road people was the soldiers began to leave. So, like, how far ahead are we?
I
How much
think-
time goes before something shakes us out of it? I guess.
I
is
mean,
the
I
other-
think between the discussion and the strategy game, it's
Yeah.
like the whole time that it took for them to walk to the crossroads. Like you've been at
Okay.
this for 3.5, 4 hours.
Then I think we stop when my stomach rumbles,
Yeah.
and I say, "Do you have any bread?"
I don't say anything. I just hand him a roll.
It's like, boom.
I
Okay.
just take it and nod and like stand up and walk away and start like lots of like looking into the middle distance while while eating bread.
Okay. So I think
I think
periodically.
I kind of like get up and shadow him a little bit.
Nice. Okay, yeah, you sort of stick together. Yeah, periodically throughout that, I think that the lieutenant has like checked in and like seen you looking at the map and was like, oh, okay, they're planning the attack, and then left, and then came back and heard you
Got, like,
discussing.
flower and tokens all over it.
Yeah, heard you discussing like big, heavy ontological stuff, and was like, oh, they're doing the thing where I'm gonna go. This is
They're
complicated.
doing that thing.
Yeah, so
I've
they just
seen this
assume
before.
you have it all under control, and this is all part of the
Right.
strategy. Like, first we plan the attack, then we discuss philosophy,
We talk
then
about
we
the
attack.
ethics of attacking.
Right,
Right.
yeah. Is it reasonable to attack now? Well, Gertrude says.
First, we must establish.
Amazing.
I think that Gertrude has become our dominating
I like
Yeah.
that.
philosophical figure, like a lot. It's
Yeah.
good. Name.
Gertrude. The
Have I
philosophies of
been
Gertrude.
stabbed with a sword yet?
So that's the question. You
Oh,
spot some
buddy.
soldiers. They spot you. The soldiers near you go to draw weapons because it's time to fight because there's enemies. What do you do, Rooster? And
Yeah,
obviously-
I tell
obviously-
one to go like let the rest of the like company or whatever. Like I'm just like you're going back to camp to tell everyone. Like,
Okay. Yeah, you're like you run and like point to the camp.
Yeah, because it was like I was like you two are gonna fuck off, and then I see the guys and I'm like okay, but seriously though you're gonna go.
Okay. So that guy starts to run, and one of the two soldiers that's like staring you down sees that and starts to run after that soldier too. So the two of them head out. You see this happening too through the woods, woodsman. You see like you follow your arrow, and then you see them run, and you see the other guys. So you can do something too if you have something you want to do in particular.
Yeah. So if the I guess the new approachers haven't seen me, I would actually like to retreat back to the road and get back in like the I'm just walking down the road mentality with the intent of
There's a fight. I don't know them. I do not know these people.
I would like to distance myself in the short term and try to come back around through the woods.
Okay.
But I recognize that time will be lost and I don't know what will happen in the meantime.
Sure, yeah. Normally, I would, if they were still on the lookout, I'd make you roll stealthy, but you don't really need to because they're distracted. If they become undistracted, they might look for you, but yeah. Okay, so let's see what happens with the soldier and the running like that, the chase. So I'll roll speed for both of them, and we'll see who wins.
Yeah, if he gets like caught quickly or whatever.
Yeah, so the Duke's Guard. Let's roll against Ob 1. And the Revolutionary Guard against Ob 1. Who won? I didn't get to see the results yet.
The Revolutionary
Okay.
Guard has 0 successes.
Okay, so the Revolutionary Guard takes off, and then the other guy runs and just tackles him, like just jumps on him, and the two of them fall into the dirt. The other soldier approaches, and the soldier that's with you like draws his sword and stands in front of you and is like, "Get behind me, sir," and like holds the sword out.
I like I don't know, shove past him. I've got my like sword and shield in hand. And I'm just like, the fuck are you talking about?
Okay.
I like start walking. I just like start walking towards the guys walking towards us. Do they have their swords on, or are they just
Do they have what?
tackled the other? Like, are all these guys who are approaching us? Or
There's
what?
only two guys approaching you. One just went and tackled the other guy. This other one is gonna try and face both of you down together.
And yeah, is he like weapon out?
Yes, yeah, he's got a long sword in his hand.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just like walking straight at him.
Okay, and what do you want to do?
frighten him.
Okay. So your intent is to intimidate him, not to murder him?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and roll intimidation.
Cool.
The obstacle is 2.
Cool. I want to fork in some stuff.
And hold on, what's your... So you want to intimidate him into doing what? Because intimidation in and of itself is not a really a goal.
Yeah. I want him to feel like he's outmatched and maybe surrender to us.
Okay, you want him to surrender. All right.
Yeah, I'm just like... Yeah, I think like as I'm walking towards him, I'm like, I don't know what you think you're doing, boy. And I'm just like...
Okay. All right. So you have intimidation. You can get 1 helping die from the soldier that's with you.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to use his sword skill to help you.
Do you think one of either like soldier-wise or
He's a soldier. Yep.
battle-wise would be good?
It's not a battle, but soldier-wise for sure.
Soldier-wise would be good? Okay,
Yep.
cool. So I can get a total of 3 dice for Ob2.
Yep.
Great.
What's your... You have 1 point in intimidation?
Yeah, I guess so. Because
Yeah.
it's based on my...
Oh, you're just another untrained?
No. It's...
Okay.
I have it skilled, but just... I opened it, but it's based off my will exponent, which is 1.
Right. So
So I get
you
2
have it, but you still got it.
modifiers. I'm not spending it anything, so how many? And my base obstacle is 2?
Your base obstacle is 2. Yep. It's his will. Nice. You intimidate him. Okay. So what does that look like? You can describe it. I mean, he's gonna drop his weapon and surrender, but how does that happen?
So maybe like I start walking over and I'm just like, I don't know what you think you're doing, boy. And then maybe he like notices the limp and then like looks down and is like, oh shit. Because it's like, that's like my signature thing, right? Is the like, the claw foot.
Yeah.
So like, oh, it's him. So maybe, yeah, my reputation preceding me.
Oh, it's you. And if I was a baby, I might be frightened. But he is frightened. So he like puts his hands up and his sword clatters to the stones below. Meanwhile, nearby, the revolutionary guard, gets tackled to the floor, and the two of them are scrambling to try to like get advantage over one another. So now they're going to roll opposed fort tests. So the Duke's guard, where is his fort? There it is. Ooh, he's got some fort. And there's the Duke's guard, and the Revolutionary Guard's counter fort. Role-playing games with myself. Okay, so they both succeed. So what happens here is they both get what they wanted, and neither of them is like entangled. They both get up to their feet. They're both disarmed, and they're kind of like looking at each other like what the next thing is. They're gonna go to violence or more running or something, but the wrestling is over.
What if I go to violence first?
Yes, and that's where you have.
So yeah, the other guy's like dropped his sword, and I was like close enough to him. I just kick it away from him, and I point at him for the other soldier to like deal with this guy, and then I like quickly walk over to the two that are fighting and just give the Duke's guard the like claw foot to the gut.
Okay. Yeah, rooster claw. Okay.
Nice.
So what do you want to do? You want to just like
I just want to
incapacitate him?
incapacitate him. Yeah, I'm just like, no, you're gonna sit down.
Okay. All right. Make a brawling test or
Can I
boxing.
do boxing?
Yeah,
That's
sure.
boxing. So,
Yeah.
and can I fork in brawling?
Hells yeah.
That's a good time.
And he'll oppose you with his health, I guess, because he's not going to try to fight because he doesn't see it coming. You just like
Yeah.
hobble over
So
and spin kick him.
So I'm waiting for him to provide the obstacle.
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
okay,
There you go. You're obvious 2.
great. Down you go.
Ew.
Okay. Yeah, you just like spin kick him with your. What's your leg made out of? Wood and metal.
Yeah, it's got like a metal claw on the end that's kind of like vaguely articulated, so it kind of clanks as he walks. It like the toes of it like clink up and down.
Rad.
Yeah, and I just give him the like this is Sparta kind of thing, like the push kick it's right to the gut, but it's like with claw, so it's just like tears him up a bit.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, it knocks him to the ground. And then the other soldier kind of like gets on top of him, and like pins him down. And then they both look at you like they both have prisoners. They look at you like,
And yeah, the one who's like holding the other guy down, I'm just like, I believe I told you to go to the camp. And then I'm like standing on the guy that he's like holding down. I'm like, I've got this one.
Okay. All right, he's gonna make a run for camp. So I'll make a speed test for him to see how fast he gets back. Run, little soldier, run. How'd he do? 1? Okay. All right. So he's not slow. And if I had failed, he'd like, I don't know, fall in a hole and die somewhere. But he just never returns. Okay, cool. So he takes off, and you and your other friend have a couple of the Duke's men as prisoners.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I guess I start like barking kind of irrelevant questions at them and just generally rattling their cages for a bit because I don't actually know what I'm doing here.
Okay.
But I get thoroughly distracted by this and let the woodsman go off and like do his thing.
Okay. Cool.
Because I assume that he'll be like coming around the corner any minute to like hang out with me because I did this cool thing for him. But no, he's just leaving. Whatever.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, Woodsman, you're approaching the edge of the village. You can start to see like stone buildings where the woods have been cleared around the base of the hill that the Graustadt is up on. And there's about a half dozen men. They're wearing like chain tunics, I guess, like chainmail tunics with the Duke's tabard over them in like crimson. It's got like a gray castle. And they have like pot helms and halberds. And they're all kind of standing around looking like bored town guard often do. But they've been instructed to watch the road. So when they see you coming, like one of them kind of like shades his eyes and like leans in and sees you approaching. What are you gonna do?
Okay, I just keep walking straight towards them without any hesitation, and I just walk as far as I can get until they confront me in any...
Okay. Yeah, one of them, when they realize you're just going to keep walking up towards the road, one of them is like, hold on there, vagabond, where are you going? Like, puts his hand up.
I'm seeking your Fletcher. I need to fix my bow.
He kind of squints at you. And
I kind of jet my bow on my back.
And where are you coming from?
I have no idea where I'm coming from.
Do you want to just name like a village, or I mean, you could just be like, oh, here and there.
I'll just say like, I'm a mere hunter. I come from the woods. I've traveled long and far.
They kind of like look at each other because they're like kind of like whispering, and you can tell that they were given instructions to look for, like revolutionaries or whatever. But they're like, wait, they didn't say anything about hunters.
And while
Where's this one in the manual?
Can I butt in while they're whispering and say like, by the way, what is the name of this town? As if I don't know anything about it.
For sure. Why don't you make a persuade check, or if you have another social skill you would like to use on them. Looks like, I'm looking at your skills, it looks like you might just be stuck with doing it untrained. If they get angry, you've got soothing platitudes to fall back on, but yeah, so persuade, what's persuade based on? Anybody who has persuade?
It's based on will, but isn't he kind of using soothing platitudes? He's just like, oh, I'm just like a little, I'm just a hunter, I'm from around,
I don't think soothing platitudes can be used to convince someone of something.
Okay, it's more to like protect yourself from stuff.
Soothing platitude is a skill for placating angered or irksome fellows with words that say nothing but compliment everything.
So it will become relevant very soon.
I love that the list, the like obstacle list in soothing platitude is just a list of platitudes. Like, looking good today, sire. Good show, sir. A masterpiece of ingenuity, lord. The Pope isn't so benevolent as you are, sire. And just like on and on, there's like 10 more of them.
Let me tell you about some platitudes.
Yeah, let me tell you some platitudes.
So good.
If they get upset, then you can platitude them. But yeah, so persuade.
Good verb.
I love it. Better to like ask for forgiveness than for permission.
Yep.
Okay, so persuade is based on will, so you're gonna roll your will. These guards have a will of 1, so the obstacle is 1. It'll double to 2, a startling 2. And because you're learning it, you can't fork anything into it.
Okay, so the obstacle's 2.
Yeah, ob 2. Almost, but no dice. So they're suspicious of you. They don't believe you enough to let you pass. And I think what happens is that one of them says, "Oh, you're a hunter, eh? Well, these are the Duke's woods, and it's illegal to hunt the Duke's animals. Didn't you know that, fool?" And he like takes a few steps forward and like gets up in your face. Like now he's like, "Oh, well, now we got an excuse to arrest you because you're a poacher."
I told you I was a hunter, but do you see any game on me? I have not harmed Duke's woods in any way.
Okay, so I think he gets like kind of a blank look, like, "Oh."
And I also I
Clever
take
one.
my flask at the end of that sentence.
Nice. You're such a hard ass. I love it.
Like no game. He's got nothing in the bottle either.
Okay. So the way it works is like you can't persuade yourself into the town, but you may now be able to persuade them into not arresting you. So why don't we roll that? It's the same roll. You're trying to persuade them, but you're trying to persuade them of something different entirely. Yeah, so go ahead and make that, and make sure that you're marking down, and we can look at this in a second. Marking down both these tests towards learning persuade.
Oh yeah. All right. So
Yeah, same roll as before.
So yeah, straight will.
Yeah, obstacles 2. Okay, so here's the thing. They're like, well, we'll be the judge of how successful you are. And they look at you and they're like, how do we know you didn't get those leathers from the Duke's deer? You're coming with us. And like one of them like grabs your arm.
uh,
I mean, if you want to get into the castle, this is definitely one way to do it.
It's a very good way to count all the soldiers.
so did anyone ever tell me the name of the town, or did they ignore that?
They didn't, no. But you knew already, yeah.
So I guess I just say like, well, I guess this is not a very friendly town then. That's it. I go with them.
Yeah, the guard is like, yeah, you will see how friendly we are, and like pulls you along. He's like, come with me, drunkard, and like start pushing you through the village. So the trick here though is that they're like it's not even so much they're being malicious, they're just bored and you're something to do. They're like, ooh, we can arrest this guy. Hooray. A thing.
Yeah, this is like every parking ticket or traffic
Yeah, right.
infraction I have ever received.
They're bored cops. So just to make sure that you're marking it, so on your sheet under being learned, just click the add button, put the skill in as persuade, and then mark 2 bubbles. Persuade is based on will, so it should default automatically for you. Cool. So you need 6 more tests, and then you have the persuade skill.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that's probably a good place to take a break. You're being like dragged off to the. We'll give you the parade of the village when we come back.
Should have stuck with Rooster. It never would have happened.
I mean, I kind of like where it ended up anyway. So cool. All right, so we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Stick around.